Gran Turismo 7 has returned with another update for October on PS5, and of course the best way of experiencing the new cars and new additions to GT7 is through the PSVR2. All these cars are buyable in Brand Central in GT7, they're on sale now, so let's take a look. First of all, let's start with a bit of an interesting one. It's this, the Toyota Hiace Van DX 2016. A very interesting choice for Kaz to add when a load of the fanbase is asking for either new GT3 cars to race online in or some hypercars. Kaz decides to add a transit diesel van. However, the theme of this update seems to be variants of other cars, and this is no exception. We have the ambulance variant of this car already, and now, well, we have the normal diesel van. Depending on the engine, the 2016 Hiace goes from anywhere from 2.7 to 3 litres with a 4-cylinder engine, and in reality costs about £20,000. While I may have described it as one and it may look a bit like a transit van, it's actually classed as a light bus in Japan. And while a petrol variant does exist, I think the one in-game is the diesel. It's not the fastest thing by any means, but it does have a pretty nicely modelled interior with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Once you get it going in some of the more flowy tracks on GT7, it can be quite fun to throw around. However, it does give you something that some other cars in this game don't, because this is a driving sim after all, and something that's focused on track cars. And that is a high driving position. I've got to say, I've not really been round the Nürburgring at this high of an angle before, and well, I can see over the barriers, which is more than I can usually say for some of the cars that I take around this track. But when that's the most interesting thing I'm saying about the Hiace, you know it's not really the most exciting of this update. Interestingly though, this is one of the only cars in the game that has 4 mirrors. Now I'm not sure what tax this really puts on the engine and the PS5, if any, but as you can see, we've got our right wing mirror, our left wing mirror, our rear view, and a ground mirror it looks like as well on the front, aiming towards kind of the bottom of the van. That's something I haven't really seen before, and I'd love to know the technical aspects of getting that to work, because that is quite a fascinating little addition that I've never seen before to any car in the game. Next up is my favourite of the bunch. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 2004 Mark 8. This variant of the car has been featured in every single GT game since Gran Turismo 4, and now it's made its way over to 7. This was the first Evo to make its way over across the Pacific to the US, way back in 2001. However, the original Mark 8 arrived in January of 2003 and got a bump in torque up to almost 300 feet per pound. And the car that's arrived in game today is the super high performance version, the Mark 8 MR. This one came around in 2004 instead, equipped with better shocks and a lightweight aluminium bonnet, or hood if you're American. And the Mark 8 was the first model lineup to actually include the MR badge on it, improving its aero, engine and roof in terms of how lightweight it was. It's a damn good sports car. And this is one of the cars that a lot of people were really excited to see in this update, and to be honest I do understand why. This is the 2004 model of the Evo 8, I believe, which should have the aluminium bonnet and a couple more interior trim things that the normal version does not. And the first thing I noticed being sat in here, well, is the driving position. It's very far back, a lot more so than the other Lancers that I've played in the game, I'm pretty sure. Which means you can get some very, very nice thumbnail shots if you're into that sort of thing. Now we do actually have a lot of this series of car in the game, and that was one of the main criticisms of this latest October update, is that a lot of these cars seem like incremental deviations from others, and to be honest I do get that. It's easier for Polyphony, I'm sure, to scan a variant of a car in and work on what they already have with the previous models, but also it is kind of nice to have, you know, a couple of cars that are in the same family sort of thing. And I gotta say, it handles like a dream, night and day between this and the Hiace van, of course. But this thing is just a joy to drive, and even more fun when you turn off traction control. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, goodbye Lancer. I've had a good time with you.
on to the next one.
The final car of the bunch is the Nissan GT-R T-Spec. This is actually the 2024 edition. With 565 brake horsepower, this doesn't quite reach the heights of the Turismo, but does provide a great option for a super sports car. But to be honest, the T-Spec performance I found to be the least engaging of the three, and I'll tell you why.
Now, the T-Spec sits in between the lower down class and the top Turismo line of the GT-R. In reality, this car will cost you about £140,000-ish, but for your money you get a lot of optimization, especially around the brakes, better cooling ducts, larger brake discs, and in real life you'll also get big 20-inch rims on your wheels, and who doesn't like that? And again, the interior is modelled fantastically here, but one thing that I have to fault the car for, but not the game for, is that, well, yeah, it does feel like the top Turismo spec just watered down, and for a nice driving experience, well, it will give you that, but in terms of a very racy, fast car, it just feels like you put a muzzle on the top Turismo lineup, and if it were for me, I mean, I'd go for my beloved white Turismo any day of the week. I mean, from the exterior view, it looks like it has a bit of the bark of the top GT-R, GT3 Turismo spec vehicles, but in practice, it feels like it just doesn't have the bite, which I guess is what you pay for. A little bit more of the luxury above the base GT-R and a little bit below the top race spec vehicles. However, one thing that is missing is the dashboard. I believe there should be a special GT-R dashboard here that is modelled and shown, and for most cars, even say for the Tesla Model 3, you get that in the middle panel, but here you don't. It's a bit of a weird exclusion, if I'm honest, and I don't know why it's not here. And it just doesn't have the nice snap back into control when you throw the back end out like the Lancer does. But that is to be expected. And it's another one where the options for taking it into customization will lead you down a pretty long path of options to really spec it out with what you want. But as it comes stock with no customizations, it feels a little, I don't know, lukewarm for me. It can be smooth if you'd like and relaxed if you'd like, and if you'd like to let it loose a little bit, you can give it some power and throw it into corners, but it just feels like it's got that bit of a leash on the entire time.
But overall, I am a fan of the update for October for GT7. And if you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to like and subscribe and comment. This is a new style for the GT7 type of videos. Usually I'd do something a little more casual and hands-on, but today I wanted to experiment and basically try something new on the editing side of things. Some of you who were eagle-eyed will notice this video actually went up yesterday and then came back down and then was replaced by the Into the Radius episode. That's going to make some of you happy because you're waiting for the next Into the Radius episode. But the reason for that is because YouTube basically didn't play nice with the file due to a bunch of different circumstances, leading to the latter half of the video being erased, so it ended really abruptly. What you see today is how the video is meant to be presented, and thank you for all your support with the GT7 stuff and everything VR related on the channel. Please let me know if you'd like me to continue this style. It's not something I've done before, but going forward with every new update, and even in between updates, I'd love to cover some cars in the game and do a review in this style. So if there are any cars you'd love to see me cover like this, please do let me know. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jin007, The License to Chill, Sun WTF, Fat Controllers, The Gamecat Andrew Ehrenreich, Jason Parker, Lamar Hall, Jordy Bansma, Lemon64K, Outcast VR, Prophecy777, Gundy and Salvador. Thank you all for watching once again, and I hope to see you all in the next video.